morning. My name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we're getting an update from Infinico Metals, a Canadian listed company that trades on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol INFM. Joining us again today is Infinico's president, Sam Walding. Sam, how are you doing today?
Yeah, hi Megan, I'm great, thanks.
For those new to the Infinico story, could you give our listeners an overview of the company and your portfolio of projects in Quebec?
Yeah, sure. So if I just skip through the slides to the first image. So Infinico is focused on magmatic nickel sulfide exploration in the province of Quebec. It's our objective at Infinico to define a nickel sulfide resource with a minimum of 100,000 tonnes contain nickel and a minimum nickel grade of 1%. This is a style of nickel sulfide deposit which is analogous to Nova Bollinger or Eagle, and it's extremely attractive to explorers. They are quick to get from discovery to mine, with relatively low startup capex, a small surface footprint, and often produce a suite of critical elements. We aim to achieve this objective through selecting projects which have the space, scalability, and grade to host such a nickel deposit, and then advancing and exploring these projects through drilling and geophysics designed to expand and build on known mineralization and, most importantly, identify new areas of mineralization. The company contains two main projects, the Nicobi Project and the Dalhousie Project. Both are nickel sulfide projects located in the James Bay region of Quebec.
And on today's interview, I'd like to focus on your Nicobi Project. Now, to start things off, can you give us an overview of the project and perhaps some of the historical work?
Yeah, so Nicobi is a magmatic nickel sulfide project. It's located roughly 2 hours drive north of the mining hub of Val d'Or. So exploration services and technical expertise are easy to come by. The project is located just off a major gravel road, and the whole property can be accessed by dirt track. So in general, it's an excellent and easy place to explore. As for the geology and the prospectivity of Nicobi, the project is made up of several nickel sulfide showings spread out over a 2.5 kilometre strike within a mafic, ultramafic intrusive complex. The showings are coincident with a major deep crustal lineament and sit on a gravity high. These geological features are important, firstly because this is evidence of the right type of rocks that have undergone the right geological processes to form and host nickel sulfide mineralization. Secondly, major crustal features may act as pathways or conduits, which enables large volumes of this mafic, ultramafic rock to flow up into the upper crust, which is a very important feature for forming large nickel sulfide deposits. And finally, as nickel sulfide mineralization and rocks that host mineralization are typically very dense, and so gravity highs can be coincident with nickel sulfide deposits or the rocks that host them, and therefore we can use these as direct targeting methods to try and intercept deep or buried mineralization and host rocks. So on this map on the screen, we see the line of prospects highlighted with the gold stars, and the Nicobi project itself sits right on the very southeastern end of this line. The main Nicobi showing itself is where the focus of historic work was concentrated, and it's situated at the far end of that line of nickel showings. So the historic work spanned from the 1960s through to the early 1990s, and the work included multiple phases of drilling along with regional geophysics. The drilling campaigns focused on the immediate Nicobi surface showing, with shallow grid drilling in the 1960s defining a non-compliant resource. And then follow-up drill testing in the 1990s targeting the same area intersected grades of up to 6.96% nickel in drill core, along with 15.5 meters at around about 1.38% nickel, 1.48% copper. And it's important to note that all of the historic drilling was focused on the immediate area around the Nicobi showing, with very little step-out drilling or testing to any significant depth. And maybe most surprisingly, the project has never been tested with modern, high-power, low-frequency surface or downhole electromagnetic surveys, which are an extremely important tool in the modern-day exploration for nickel sulfides.
In a recent press release, the company mentioned you'd be completing reprocessing of historical drill and geophysical data. Are you able to provide an update on this and perhaps any of your findings?
That's right. We've put quite a lot of effort into trying to compile and make sense of all the historic drilling data from the past 60 years. This has been quite a painstaking task, translating handwritten drill logs and assays into a digital, usable format and ensuring the old drill collars are located correctly so that we know exactly where and what the mineralization is doing. The task has really paid off, and we've been able to create what I believe is the first proper digital 3D leapfrog model of the Nicobi mineralization. This model is based on all of the historic drilling, which has reliable assay information for nickel. And what we see is a mineralized body starting from surface, plunging at approximately 40 degrees to the northwest. The mineralization is defined down to a depth of around about 150 meters, which is really the limit of the historic drilling at Nicobi. So this is illustrated on the long section that I've got displayed on the screen here. The outline of the mineralization is shown with historic drill holes, and the model is built based on the assay results for nickel in these drill holes, with the different colors representing nickel grade. The model suggests that mineralization has not been properly closed off by historic drilling and remains open at depth and down plunge to the northwest, as well as a long strike in either direction. The lack of drilling at depth and the lack of any surface or downhole electromagnetics is particularly pertinent. The geological nature of massive nickel sulfide bodies means they often have a very small footprint and form at basal contacts or at favourable geomorphological features, meaning they can easily be missed in shallow drilling with no geophysical follow-up.
Let's talk about your first phase of drilling. Is the plan to retest historical holes, or will the company be looking to test the extent of historic mineralization along strike and at depth?
So our first phase of drilling, we really have three main objectives, I would say. Firstly, we want to gain a full suite of assays through the mineralized body, enabling us to calculate nickel tenor and understand any zoning or geochemical associations. The historic data typically only reports nickel and copper, and this is not sufficient for modern day exploration. This will involve drilling one hole through the main mineralized body to confirm and build on the historic drilling. Secondly, we want to conduct step-out drilling to the northwest to test the down-dip extension of the mineralized body and start testing for mineralization at depth. And finally, we will conduct high-power, low-frequency downhole electromagnetic surveys across all drill holes. This is particularly important as massive nickel sulfide bodies often have a direct correlation with conductivity. All electromagnetics may help us identify conductivity anomalies at depth and away from the immediate area of drilling. And it allows us to produce direct targets for follow-up drilling, helping to identify new areas and new zones of mineralization that have maybe previously been unrecognized.
Well, thank you, Sam. And for our audience, can you give us a brief overview of why investors should be keeping an eye on Infinico going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So Infinico Metals has a clear objective to explore for and discover a magmatic nickel sulfide resource with a minimum of 100,000 tonnes contained nickel at a minimum grade of 1% nickel. We have a portfolio of high-quality nickel sulfide projects focused in Quebec, a jurisdiction where a discovery can be quickly translated into a mine. The upcoming work will focus on the Nicobi Project. The Nicobi Project has proven economic nickel grades and space and scalability to add and build on existing nickel mineralization. Yet the historic drilling was shallow and no modern surface or downhole electromagnetics have been conducted over the project. And we aim to start testing the Nicobi Project in early 2024 through step-out drilling and electromagnetic surveys with the aim of building on and extending the existing mineralized body and identifying new zones of mineralization.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to having you back on soon for the next Infinico update.
Great. Thanks, Megan.